Hello, this is yours truly, Charles Prosper, your consistency success coach. And what I want to talk about in this installment is how to overcome the barrier of procrastination, which stands in the way of your consistency. Now, procrastination is faced by everyone at some time or the other, and it has nothing to do with laziness, which is what I want to explain in this installment, but has everything to do with fear. And I want to give you techniques to overcome procrastination and to go about achieving your goals in spite of it all. So that's the focus of this installment, and I hope that you enjoy it. Hello, my friend. I want to talk about the second barrier to consistency, which is procrastination. The first barrier to consistency is inertia. Inertia is the ability to overcome inaction by going counter to what you're used to doing, by going in a new direction, and thus creating momentum. So, inertia is the first barrier. That is, when you're used to doing something in a certain way, there's a resistance to change, and this resistance to change is the force of the inertia that wants to keep you in place. Once you crumble inertia, procrastination is the next barrier to consistency, which is the barrier that I want to talk about right now. One thing I want to dispel once and for all is that many people believe that procrastination has to do with being lazy or indifferent. Just the contrary. Procrastination has nothing to do with being lazy or indifferent. In fact, some of the most ambitious and determined people that I know have no trace of laziness or lack of ambition, yet they still are faced with procrastination. So I want to examine and ask the question, what is the cause? What is the basis for procrastination if it's not laziness or indifference? In a word, what causes procrastination is fear. Fear is what stops you in your tracks and makes you want to procrastinate. So the basis of all procrastination is fear and not laziness. And what exactly is fear in its true essence? Fear is fear of the unknown, fear of not being able to handle what's coming up, fear of not seeing what could be in the far distant future that can be harmful once we go on a path that we're not familiar with. And philosophically and ultimately, the ultimate fear, what I'm saying, is the fear of death. That is the root base fear that stops us from doing things that venture us into the unknown. Because from the perspective of the subconscious, anything that we go into that's unknown spells danger. Danger. And the ultimate danger of the unknown is the fear of death. So the subconscious mind, which is a protective mechanism which sometimes overworks itself, attempts to protect us from the unknown, but at the same time sabotages things that would be in our best interest to achieve. Let's examine a few examples of this fear of the unknown, or this fear-based procrastination. In another installment, I talked about a lady I was counseling years ago who said that she wanted to start a business. And I said, fine, go ahead, go for it. I think it would be great. She says, but no, I first want to go to college and study business administration, and then I feel that I'd be a little better equipped to begin my business. Well, I countered and said to her, if you really want to start a business, you can start that at any time and just learn as you go along the way. She says, no, I think I'll be better equipped and better prepared if I got my BA in business administration. I said, okay, fine. So 4 years later, she gets her bachelor's in business administration. I said, congratulations. So how's the business going? She says, well, I'm not quite ready to start the business because I think that if I can get a master's in business administration, I'd be even more ready to start my business. And I said, well, I don't really think you need another degree in order to get started. She says, no, I'm sure that once I get the right amount of knowledge through an MBA, a Master's in Business Administration, I'll really be ready to start. So 2 years later, I meet with her again. And I said, you got your MBA, congratulations. So how's the business going? She says, well, I figured that if I can get a PhD in business, I could teach on the university level, and with all of the knowledge and exposure and the environment that I'll have with business, I'd really be equipped to start my business. And well, I think we all know how the story goes. She remained as a university instructor, teaching business administration, and to this day, she has not started her business. You see, this type of fear is a fear of the unknown, the fear of not being able to handle a future goal, and being in a constant state of getting ready was her excuse to justify her fear in not actually starting a business. So even though education is a positive thing, used incorrectly, it can be a barrier to achievement. And there could be examples of fear of doing taxes, well, which causes procrastination. It is the fear of overwhelm, that once you get started doing the taxes, you may not find out, you may find out things that you can't handle, that things that are surprising, that things that show that you owe more than you really do. So it's the fear of being overwhelmed, of learning something that you don't want to learn. So rather than discover something that you don't want to discover, it's better to not do it just yet. In other words, to procrastinate on it. There's a procrastination in beginning going to the gym. You don't know if you'll be able to handle getting up every morning and making it to the gym and being disciplined. So rather than push yourself through the discomfort of starting something new, which is resisting the necessity to break the inertia, you just procrastinate and stay in place. So here's another one. The fear of approaching and talking to an attractive stranger. This will cause procrastination, and you'll decide, I'm not ready to talk to her right now, so I'll just wait. And this is a fear of failure again, which is a threat to the ego. The ego sees failure as death. And so rather than to face this ego death, it's much better just to postpone it and just not do it for now, as we would want to convince ourselves. Or the fear of confronting a coworker who happens to be difficult can be a type of fear-based approach that creates procrastination because you are unaware of how the confrontation would come out. And so being a fear-based, emotional, ego-driven type of procrastination, you put this off as well. Now, I've given you examples of how procrastination works, but what are the solutions? What are the counters to procrastination? Okay, I'll give you a few of the solutions to handle procrastination. Well, there's the raw approach, the all or none approach. Force yourself to do whatever it is that you are afraid of doing, that you are procrastinating on. In other words, it's like this book that I read a long time ago, which title I thought was absolutely awesome. The title of the book is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So, in a like way, I could say feel the procrastination and do it anyway. And I don't know who said this quote. I don't know if it was Mark Twain. I don't know who it was, but the quote goes like this: do the thing that you fear, and the death of the fear is certain. So this is the raw approach. This is the all or none approach. This is the approach where you see in some of the videos on procrastination and consistency. Force yourself to be consistent. Force yourself to be consistent. And to a certain degree, it does work. It takes a lot of determination, but you can break the barrier of inertia and break the barrier of procrastination through forcing yourself to do it. There is another approach where you can train yourself to break the habit of procrastination when it's something that you need to do as a routine over a long period of time. This could be such as going to the gym, such as studying for an advanced degree. The idea would be to create a routine of same time and same place, which would train the subconscious to see that this is a normal, natural part of your life. So in the beginning, there may be initial resistance, but over time, practicing something such as studying at a certain time in a certain place, or going to the gym at a certain time in a certain place, is something that you will train your whole psychophysiological system to get used to, and the barriers to procrastination will be dissipated. That is, the inertia will go away and the procrastination will subside. There is another approach, which is the visualization approach. I would say for 15 minutes daily, consistent minutes daily, at the same time, in the same place, for 60 days, visualize yourself doing successfully the thing that you fear. Now, don't take lightly this whole approach of visualization. It's very powerful if and when done consistently. Listen to me again. The visualization approach, though you may have heard about it a lot, works only if you work it consistently. Same time, same place, at least 15 minutes a day for 60 days. You would simply successfully see yourself, picture yourself in your mind doing whatever it was or doing whatever it is that you think you need to fear. Over time, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you will feel that it's not as frightful as it was before you started. And at this point, it would be a matter of course for you to do it, which would reinforce the visualization even more so and dissipate the whole procrastination process till it no longer exists. And the other approach to counter procrastination is what I like to call reminding yourself why. The reminding yourself why approach is very powerful. What do I mean by this? Why do you want to overcome this procrastination? Why do you want to do consistently whatever it is that you say you want to do? If your why is important enough, the doing of it becomes easier. Let's say you want to start a new business, or you want to study for an advanced degree to improve the quality of life of your family. Well, the reminding yourself why approach is very powerful. If you could look, for example, at your sleeping daughter, your 7-year-old daughter who's asleep, and realize that by you consistently studying on a regular basis for your advanced degree will improve the quality of her life, this will dissipate your procrastination and give you the drive to move forward. So the thing is that, and the irony behind the fear of failure is that you already have failed when you decide not to do it. You have already been rejected by yourself. So your fear of failure unwittingly is already happening before you even start, because you have rejected yourself when you decide not to do it. So in essence, what I want to say is that procrastination does exist, but it is not invincible. It can be overcome with the right approach, the right attitude, and understanding that if you're willing to do whatever it takes, procrastination and any other obstacle that you face in your life can be overcome.
Okay, I hope you can see now that procrastination is one of those common barriers that we can mistaken for laziness or indifference, but the root of all procrastination is fear-based, and though it is a persistent opponent to the majority of people in their quest to achieve their goals, it's not invincible. It can be overcome, as you saw in this installment. So understand that procrastination is formidable but not invincible. So before we go, I would like to invite you to my community, to my family of consistent-minded individuals who are here to help you achieve your goals. In fact, what we do is we help each other in the Prosper Consistency Success membership site, where we support each other to achieve our goals. That is, you will have access to accountability partners who will help you to stay focused to achieve your goal, as you will be assigned as a member to another person to help them stay focused and achieve their goal. Now, additionally, there will be live coaching calls where you can call in and get answers to whatever problems or challenges that you may have on your path to consistency. So, without further ado, I would invite you to go and check out www.consistencysuccesscoach.com, and you will be glad that you did. Do you know that I put out daily consistent content on the subject of consistency? So that you don't miss out on any of the installments, I would invite you to like and subscribe so that you will not miss out on any of the new videos that come out on a daily basis. So with that, as I like to say before I go, my wish to you is that you stay consistent and be successful.